Now, it began life in the basement of a bookshop in King's Cross in the 70s, becoming a key source of information about HIV. More than 4 decades on, the helpline Switchboard now deals with 15,000 calls a year, but says mental health within the LGBT community needs to be better funded. Helen Drew has more.
Today they're called gays, and they're coming out on the streets of London.
This was one of the first ever London Pride events in the 1970s. Just a few years earlier, homosexuality had been partly decriminalised in England and Wales, and awareness was slowly increasing. To answer people's questions confidentially, Gay Switchboard was set up in 1974. And after seeing a poster on set, Sherlock and the League of Gentlemen actor Mark Gatiss called that helpline.
You can probably unburden yourself more to a total stranger than to an old friend because there's no combat or there's no judgment on, and I think that's what I've obviously come to understand over the years, and what Switchboard has always done is not to offer solutions, or it's to listen.
To spread the word in those early days, volunteers would sneak into libraries across London and stick the Switchboard number in books. But at the start of the 1980s, everything changed.
So protect yourself and read this leaflet when it arrives.
That government leaflet had Switchboard's number on it, and demand soared. Today, the subject of HIV and AIDS is still regularly discussed on the line, but volunteers say awareness has decreased. Kai is one of those volunteers. During the day, she works at UCL's Medical Research Council, and in the evenings, she takes calls.
We have 25-year-olds, and they go, "Oh, tell us about HIV. Oh, I've never heard of it," which is shocking to you and me, and shocking to everyone at Switchboard, because obviously we all think everyone knows about STIs, but we've got 25-year-olds who haven't even heard of HIV before, and this is in Britain today, in London even.
What started as a small telephone service 45 years ago now has nearly 200 volunteers, takes 15,000 calls a year, and also has an online service to reach people across the world. But they say more help is needed.
There's limited funding for mental health, specifically around LGBT plus sector. So you have a small number of charities competing for the same grants. If we were to see an increase in the funding, we'd be able to see a direct correlation to increase in support, which will help save lives.
Switchboard says they'll be answering calls for as long as the phone rings. Helen Drew, BBC London News.